a mess.
Go ahead, King.
This is gonna make a mess.
Easy.
Oh no! Our table! It's broken! Well, the table broke.
Love Never Lies was the peak of my middle school performance. It was this like 50 or so page long comic that I thought I could totally publish and put in the stores. I really thought I was going somewhere with this one. Just a heads up, I'm really not gonna sugarcoat anything. I'm totally throwing my 11-year-old self right under the bus with this one. Every time I made a new friend, I would totally put them in this comic and be like, look, I drew you as a Pokemon, and everyone would just end up being weirded out, so... Let's start with a quick breakdown of some of the characters. Jessica is a shiny Vulpix. She was bullied for being shiny, and I guess no one knew it was a rare thing. She was a total flirt and had like 5 guys drooling over her at all times. Zach has another origin story. He first appeared in this awful comic I wrote about Eevees living in the woods together. It's called The Consequences of Love. It's a different story, different time. He started off as a normal Eevee who had a crush on another Eevee named... Yeah, I don't know why. I was unoriginal with naming. His personality was 100% a love-struck teenage boy. Ethan was an APOM who had the potty humor of the group. He was like the class clown, the attention hog. He was overall a really goofy character. 10 out of 10 for comedic relief, except... we don't talk about that. Marcus was the random normal kid in the group who fell subject to Jessica's hyper-crazy antics. He was often the punching bag and kind of put in for comedic relief too, and I mean, like, he was beat up a lot and he kind of exploded within the first 2 pages, so... Hunter was a Charmander who also ended up liking Jessica. He wore these, like, round shades, and he was a secret admirer, and he's, like, 3 years older than everybody else. Miki was a skitty who was there for the sense of reason. She was who grounded everybody. She was literally the only rational one trying to corral a bunch of really dumb kids into not getting themselves killed. She was also there kind of for moral support because Jessica was going through an emotional crisis with the 5 guys that liked her. We had some other background characters that kind of like helped progress whatever little bit of story that there was along. Kira and Zay, who were Azumarils. The teachers were all evolutions. The villains were all dark and ghost type Pokemon. I think there was like one Vileplume that tried to use like sleep powder or something. And now we're gonna kind of immerse into the storyline. It's the basic boy meets girl, boy falls in love, except it's 5 boys that all like the same girl. Oh my god, I don't know what's wrong with me. Why was I like this? I was like 11. Do all 11-year-olds do this? Like, I don't think they do. And I really am gonna warn you right now that there is absolutely zero consistency to this story. And I am so sorry, but I'm going to try to make it as understandable as possible while still covering the major plot points. Okay, so the comic starts out with Jessica being the star of the spotlight in a little film Zach and her were making. Marcus and Miki come up, and Marcus is like, "Hey guys, what you doing?" And Jessica yells back, "Random attack," and clobbers him. Marcus electrocutes her, and the whole battle breaks out. She ends up using flamethrower. Zach yells for them to stop, trying to get them to notice that the bell had already rung. As a distraction, Ethan comes out of nowhere and grabs the teacher's glasses and makes a run for it. Just as he thought he got away, he smacked into the teacher's tail and was thrown into the in-school suspension room, or ISS, where he makes really good friends with the pole from earlier. Marcus is then also kicked into ISS. This random Charmander comes out of the shadows and is like, "I've been in ISS for years and I haven't seen this yet." And then he whips out a photo of Jessica on a Polaroid and asks if they know her. They both nod and they're like, "Yeah, she's my best friend." And then Marcus is like, "Well, how do you know her?" And the Charmander responds... The Charmander replies with, "She's my..." The Charmander replies with, "She is my dream girl." The two boys yell back in unison, "No, she's mine," and they're interrupted as Zach is also kicked into ISS. Zach sees the photo and he just kind of like snatches it from them, and then Jessica's also kicked into ISS and he just like eats the photo. There's a loud explosion and the wall collapses. This like really shady vile plume pops in and he's like, "I'll put them to sleep with my sleep powder," and knocks these kids out and then traps them in a bag. And Zay uses Ice Beam on the Vile Plume, Iron Tail on the bag, and he ends up saving the kids. His girlfriend comes up and kisses him, and she's like, "Oh my god, he saved us!" Zach gags, and Marcus makes fun of him, saying, "We all know you want Jessica to do that to you." And Zach is sent into this like hyper-realistic daydream about asking Jessica to go skating. And he's like drooling. And Ethan's standing back like, "Bro, what are you doing?" Zach's like, "Oh shit." The teacher comes up and sees these kids standing outside the classroom, and she's like, "How did you kids get back out? Like they weren't just almost kidnapped?" Because the school, I guess, has no security, and Ethan ends up distracting her again by thinking she's a pole and hugging her. Meanwhile, Kiera and Zay scoot away to go on a date, and all the kids follow. Zach thinks it would be funny to try catching them on video, kissing, and a mysterious shadow takes over his camera and is like, "Oh, I found them." And he catches them kissing, and Jessica goes on a monologue rant about how she wishes it was her and how it's such a romantic date. Even though they literally just got attacked and almost kidnapped like 10 minutes ago, but I guess we're just not going to talk about that. And Miki agrees, and Jessica slams her paw into the camera, asking Zach to turn it off. And she's like, "So if I liked one of you, who would it be?" And Hunter jumps up and is like, "Oh my god, me!" And Jessica's like, "No, I don't even know you." And he cries, screaming, "Why, cruel world, why?" And she tells him to get a life. Miki goes and like consoles him like, "You're fine, buddy." Within 5 seconds of Miki giving him pity, saying, "You'll have a girlfriend someday," he turns around and says, "You're right, I know the perfect person." And Miki's like, "Great, but who?" And he grabs her hand, saying, "I'm looking at her." And she essentially tells the guys to fight and just figure it out on their own. She shows Ethan a tree, and he hugs the tree so hard that he snaps it in half and it crushes him. The ghastly that was in the camera comes out and uses hypnosis on everyone. Zach tells everyone to cover their ears and don't look, but he does anyway and he gets knocked out. And for the second time, he has a hyper-realistic daydream about Jessica admitting her feelings about being so deeply in love with him. He wakes up not knowing where he is, and the ghastly makes fun of him for talking about Jessica in his sleep. She tells him that everyone else escaped, but then there's a noise, meaning that they, in fact, did not escape. He shadowballs her and she dodges, randomly for some reason bringing up that she has a powerful stone collection. And Zach has the idea to ask her if he could admire her shiny stones, and of course she accepts. He ends up stealing a fire stone and she's like, "You idiot, you'll evolve!" And he's like, "I want to be a fire type just like Jessica!" And randomly evolves and breaks everyone out. They're like, "It's getting dark, let's go home and meet up here tomorrow because we have a 4-day weekend." Zach goes home and has a dream about a shadow creature barking at him and throwing Jessica off of a cliff and killing her. Ethan has a dream about a pole, and the same shadow creature tells him to choose between saving the pole or the love of his life. She's already dead though. Marcus also dreams about fighting the shadow creature, saying, "Oh, he's so small, he could take him easily." And the shadow creature makes him choose between saving himself and his ego and good looks, or Jessica. He's willing to sacrifice his life for Jessica, and the shadow creature tells him, "At least you're dying like a gentleman." And then Jessica cries. And Jessica ends up dreaming about battling the shadow creature, Zach helping her defeat it. Hunter has a dream about the shadow creature being really tiny and just stepping on it. And Miki dreams about tacos. Everyone meets up the next day and Zach talks about the dreams with the shadow creature in it. Everyone's simultaneously like, "Oh shit." Except for Miki, because she had a dream about tacos. They randomly find a piece of paper on the floor that says, "Dear victims of my dream, you have fallen for my evil plan once again." Snickering face. "Anyway, here's a riddle. Watch your back for who may be about. There's evil in the sky, don't you doubt." "Watch it or you'll get smacked in the snout. Beware, sincerely your nightmare." Jessica and Zach just leave the group randomly and go on a date to a cliffside overlooking some water. I guess the others follow them and Ethan starts recording them. Zach gives Jessica a firestone for later use and a necklace that holds some kind of power of turning Pokemon into dark types and gives them wings. The shadow of Pokemon pops up and scares Zach and he falls off the cliff and everyone's like, oh shit. And Jessica cries. Meanwhile, Zach ended up falling on top of a Zorua and being just fine. Jessica thinks Zach is dead, so she says, and I quote, "Go the hell away, crystal power, wings, I'm gonna kill myself." And everyone's like, oh shit. And she jumps and lands on Zach, who's at the bottom. The end. That's literally the ending. And here are some honorable mention panels. I did skip some parts to make it a little bit more tolerable.
Hey, we got the accent challenge. Shout with me today, promo stamp. Alright, number 1, we got Beanie. Number 2, we got Heat. Number 3, we got It. Number 4, we got Beat. Number 5, we got Number 6, we got Cheat. Number 1, we got Eat. Number 2, we got Petit. Number 3, we got Number 4, we got Bendy.
But you know what this gives me a chance to do? I get to rework the characters as if they were new. Starting off with Jessica. She was boy crazy and super manipulative, and she also enjoyed a lot of attention. She's been renamed to Cinder. I kind of rewrote her personality to be the center of attention and a bit of a people pleaser. She wants to be the star in a lot of things, which ends up leading her into trouble with her headstrong actions. Zach is being renamed to Z. I chose this because I'm really trying to avoid the generic human names. Instead of his only personality trait being madly in love with her, I've shaped it to him being shy and unsure of himself. He's kind of the opposite now, and he's often too scared to act first. He needs that little push that Jessica, well, Cinder gives him. Miki stays the same practically. She's the fun friend and also a logical thinker. She often makes decisions when the group is stuck on what they should do next. Marcus is renamed to Damien, and I decided that on a whim and it kinda stuck, because Damien kinda just works for him. I really play off Damien's ego and add into his personality. He's the standoffish jerk and quite the troublemaker. He's even more willing to jump headfirst into something than Cinder is, often causing trouble for the group. His loyalty is questioned multiple times throughout the new story due to him being easily persuaded and led down the wrong path. Hunter keeps his name, but I'm rewriting him to not be some kind of creep who carries around a picture of a girl 3 years younger than him, only to immediately pick up another girl when he's denied. He's more of a socially awkward bookworm who tries to stay trendy but fails. He's also really old school and often thinks outside the box. Damien picks on him a lot. And Ethan is being renamed to Houdini. He's still kind of a class clown who likes to joke around and play pranks on others. He gets joy out of absolutely humiliating himself just for a few laughs. He makes himself a distraction in tough situations and somehow always makes it out alive. He's also a fourth wall breaker, and honestly, he kind of worries everyone. Maybe one day I'll rewrite the story. Given I've remade the characters now, I'm considering making it into a short, fun little comic about the gang going on small adventures. Thanks for sticking with me through the cringe, and I hope it was at least a little bit entertaining to listen to. Hunter has a dream about the shadow creature being really tiny and just kind of stepping on it. Hunter has a dream about the shadow creature being really... Hunter has a dream about the shadow creature being really tiny and stepping on it. Oh my god, please let me record this one audio line. I repeated it like 5 times. Ah! I can't record. Tell me more about how you have to lick my face while I'm trying to make a video. Bird, please! Hunter has a dream about the shadow creature being really tiny. Hunter has a dream about the shadow creature being really tiny and stepping on it. Oh my god! Hunter has a dream about the Hunter has a dream about the shadow creature being really tiny and just stepping on it. Oh my god! And for a second time, he has a hyper-realistic daydream about... And for the second time, he has a hyper-realistic... And for the... And for the second time, he has... He ends up stealing a firestone, and she's like, you... Every time I try to talk, the bird's like, yes, I wanted this video, mother. Yeah? Whoa, shit.